we're live.
We are live. Hello, Facebook. I missed you all. I know y'all missed me too. We are going to have some fun today. I have my favorite tax attorney, Josie, on the live with us today. We're going to do a Q&A on PPP loans. We have a lot to cover. We have some really good questions. We'll give it about 5 minutes before we get started. We'll give people a chance to join us, so you won't miss anything. I'm gonna pull. Josie, how do you feel about all this stuff that's going on with the PPP loan?
It is crazy. My human side of me feels like, oh my goodness, like what were people thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And also like, wow, I can't believe that people actually did that. My attorney side is saying, oh, I want to help people. That's my attorney side. It's saying, I do feel like everybody, I'm a little sensitive to things. So I feel like everybody, I don't think everybody really knew what they were getting into, but everybody really knew what they were getting into.
Right.
I don't think they know, they knew, okay, I know that I don't have a business, or I have not filed this money on my tax return. I don't have a true Schedule C, or I don't have this income, but right now I need this money. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to get that money. So in a sense, I say you knew what you were doing, but then you didn't know how far it would go. You didn't know that they would actually be auditing people and actually indicting people and putting people in jail.
Right.
For these type of things. Even if it, is the thing is even if it's small money, like someone came to me and said, oh, well, I only got 40,000, only 40,000. There was someone indicted for 30,000. So I don't think at this point, the government, the Department of Justice doesn't really care, because that means that $30,000 that you received fraudulently could have been given to another business who actually needed that money, and they missed the opportunity because that money was gone, because that money, the money ran out prior to May 31st.
Right.
It ran out. And so that was the second draw ran out prior to May 31st, which means someone missed that money because you fraudulently got $30,000. That's how the Department of Justice is looking at it. Right. Not as in, oh, well, it's only 30,000. They're not looking at it that way. They don't really care. They're like, someone else could have gotten that money.
Yeah, I had clients that applications were submitted, and because the money ran out, they couldn't get it. And so that's my issue. I don't know, for some reason, our people, Blacks, think that we are talking bad about the people that got the loan fraudulently. So let me make this clear to everybody. We're not talking down on anybody. We're not judging anybody. If you got that loan and you wasn't supposed to receive it, that's your business. I don't give a damn. What I do care about is my clients that have real businesses that are really struggling. I'm upset because they couldn't get anything because of the people that received the money fraudulently. And so some of them had to close their doors permanently because they just couldn't afford the rent, and they were really banking on the PPP funds to help them get out of the hole that they were in due to the pandemic. So that's my issue. And when I post information on my social media pages about the PPP loans, I'm getting this information from different conferences that I attend. I am not talking bad about anybody. I don't make this stuff up. I just share the information as I receive it. Somebody was talking really crazy and bad on my one of my PPP loan posts, telling us we should be ashamed of ourselves. It was just so shocking to me, and I'm like, I should be ashamed of sharing the information that I learned. Like,
That's
I'm so
crazy.
confused.
Yeah, like if you don't, the thing is that if you don't share it, people don't know about what the consequences are, for doing what they did, that there are consequences out there, and Department of Justice will be knocking on your door. And my thing is that our community says, okay, well, no one told us. Well, someone's telling you now. So don't get mad if someone's saying something about or sharing information they received on the PPP loan about the PPP loan. And like you said, no one is judging anyone.
No
and like
judgment.
I said, as an attorney, my job is to help people get the best, provide them the best representation I can. And if I don't share this information with you, you don't know that you have someone out there who you can call and say, hey, Josie, I got audited. I got, they're trying to indict me. What do I do at the end of the day? I'm not saying you won't go to jail, but what I'm saying is everybody deserves effective representation. Regardless of what they did, regardless of if they know they were wrong, they still deserve effective representation. And that's what we're trying to do, even if it's not on a lawyer standpoint, but it's on telling you what is going on. Because a lot of people don't know that people are actually being indicted.
Yep. It's true. We're not sitting around just waiting on people to go to jail. I'm sitting around soaking up all the information that I can to help my people, because like Josie, this is what we do. Like, we don't have to be on live right now. Our time is very valuable, and I don't do anything for free, but we are on here today for free, sharing information that you all need to know. So I'm gonna leave that alone, but I wanted to put that out there to let people know that think that we are just sitting around talking about people and judging people. It's no judging here. I don't give a damn what y'all do. All right, so let's get to the Q&A, to the questions. If you're just joining, I'm Melinda Tolbert, and I have my favorite tax attorney, Josie Harris Walton, on the line with us. We are doing a full Q&A on the PPP loans. We're going to help you understand if your loan or someone that you know, if they received the loan, we're going to help you understand if it can be forgiven or if it would be considered fraud. I have about 20 questions that were emailed. That's a lot of questions. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through all of these questions or not, but we're going to try. So with that being said, I'm going to put you there. Josie, put me here, and we're going to rock and roll.
All right. And you make sure, Melinda, that you put in your 2 cents, if you have it, they can get the accountant side and they can get the attorney side.
Yes, madam.
All right.
Okay, so the first question is, how are people able to get the loan fraudulently? Weren't there any guidelines and resources to enforce those guidelines?
There were resources and, for enforcing the guidelines. The issue is that the government was trying to give us this money so quick, or, businesses so quick, that they allowed people to say, hey, this is what I made. This is what I need for my payroll expenses. Because the first loan was mostly about payroll. It was about your payroll tax, your payroll expenses, being able to pay your employees. And so they were like, okay, we need to put this out here, banks. You do this, this, and this. You give them the application. But on the application, it tells you read the application. It says you agree. You're saying that whatever you put in this application is true. And it is true regarding your income, and that you will spend the money on certain things, that was what the requirements. So what the bank did was the bank asked you to provide them, they had you fill out the applications. They asked you how many employees you had, how much your mortgage interest was, how much your rent was, things of that nature. And they did a calculation from that according to what the government told them to do. And then what they did was they asked for certain documentation. But it wasn't enough documentation to say, okay, you don't deserve this money. And they did what they had to do, because in 2020, people, everybody was shut down. And so they had to do whatever they had to do in order to get these funds. So that's what it was. So when you came back for your forgiveness, that's when they asked you for all this documentation. And what's happening is the banks are required to tell the government that you didn't get the forgiveness because you didn't have this particular information. And then that's kind of where a lot of people are getting audited. That's one way that people are getting audited, because the banks are required, because they were banks that were giving out this money. They're required to say, hey, this person not get forgiveness because they didn't have the employee they said they had. We couldn't get the 941. We couldn't get the payroll information. We couldn't get the rent lease information. And so that's how the Department of Justice is getting people's names. Well, one of the ways anyway.
Gotcha. So on the first round, I had my reservations about that PPP loan, child.
Yeah, I remember.
the first time I was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm not applying for it. I'm not applying for it for any of my clients, simply because it was just so much fraud related to it. And I felt like SBA, like you said, they did it so fast. And a lot of the stuff that happened, they weren't prepared for. And I just didn't want to have anything to do with that, because they were changing stuff like every week. And I'm like, this too much.
A
lot of people are going to get in trouble because every other day they're putting out new guidelines. Okay, It's not this anymore, it's this. So I know a lot of people got caught up because of all of those changes that were made on the first time.
Yeah.
But the second time, it was enough guidelines in place for people to say, hey, okay, I don't have this, I'm not eligible for it, let me leave it alone.
Yeah.
But instead of them leaving it alone, they went out and they got fraudulent documents, because that's the only way that you could have gotten it the second time, because you had to submit a copy of your taxes.
Yep.
You had to sign a 4506T for them to get a copy of your transcript.
Yep.
You had to submit proof that you were in business prior to 2/15/2020. Like, there were a lot of items that you did have to show proof for the first time. So the second time. So the people that got that loan the second time, that tells me that not only did you receive the loan fraudulently, you submitted a lot of fraudulently documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I think, the 2019 tax return, it was already in process. So they had to put 4506T. But if you wanted additional money, or your payroll changed for 2020, you could submit a 2020 exam estimate, 2020 tax return. And so,
or you could have used your 2019.
Or you could use your 2019, but I think a lot of people had to go back and use their 2020, and they put additional amount of money in there. And then when 2020 came around, of course, you don't file it because you don't want to pay taxes on that money.
Right.
You don't file it, or you did, 941s after the fact, but then you didn't pay the payroll taxes, which, I always talk about forms. So I better say 941s are quarterly taxes that an employer submits in to the IRS to pay taxes for that they've taken and from their, not taken, but they've collected from their employees to submit for their payroll, for their taxes every year. So what happens is, once you file the 941s, you pay the taxes for your employees every quarter. At the end of the year, when your employees file a tax return, that's a credit for them on their taxes. There's their payroll tax credit. So that's what they were supposed to do. And a lot of them filed fraudulent 941s as well.
Wow.
And then pay the payroll taxes.
That's for the people that actually
had employees.
Put that they had employees. But for the people, which majority of the people, the ones that I know, they just did the application as a sole proprietor. So it was just a Schedule C. And I from reading the amounts that they got, the 20,000, that tells me that you grossed on line 7 at least 100,000, and you also told them that you didn't have any employees, and that's how they were able to get that $20,000. But when you're audited and they look at your transcript and that business return is not on that transcript, they're going to know that it was fraud.
Yeah.
Let's say that they did have a business though, a real business, but they put the wrong amount on it. Let's say their business had they put that their business made $25,000 because they didn't want to pay a whole lot of taxes. Mm-hmm. But they put on the PPP loan application that they grossed $100,000 so they can get the full $20,000. How would that work? What's going to happen with them?
That's still fraud, because what happened is you filed over 25. You said you made over 25% of what you actually made. So they're looking at 25% is the amount. They're saying, okay, that's fraud, because somebody could have said, okay, well, I said 25, but I actually end up making 30,000 because it was an estimate. Right. Mm-hmm. But they feel like 25%. If you said over 25%, you did it for the purpose of getting that PPP loan and that additional money. And you signed the 3808, which I think that's the application form. You signed that form saying that this is the true amount that you made. And we all know, and I mean, I understand small business don't have QuickBooks or whatever like that, but the government assumed that you knew what your possible gross amount was going to be. But remember, before Biden got in, it was actually net income that they looked at, not gross.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So most people put their net, and then they end up, if you hadn't got the loan, if you hadn't got the PPP loan prior to them changing the laws, they went back and asked you that you want to use your gross.
Right.
What most people did was they made their gross amount a huge amount, but they made sure their net was $100,000. Mm-hmm. But then you didn't file on your tax return when you file your 2020 tax return. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to the next question. How does the SBA know if a loan was obtained fraudulently?
Well, one way, like I said, they're finalized from the bank. If you don't get forgiveness, now that doesn't mean that your loan is fraud. It means that the bank is saying, hey, you probably need to look at this information because they didn't get forgiveness, because they didn't do they didn't have the proper paper. So they look at the proper paperwork. They said they didn't have the proper paperwork. Which the thing is that if you filed your 2020 or 2019 tax returns, and you filed $100,000 to get $20,000, but then when you submitted for the forgiveness, you had $25,000 on there as your gross income. Boom, there you go. It's going to be sent up to the government by your bank. Another way is that I know people know this, but the Department of Justice and the IRS is working together.
Yep.
So if you filed $25,000 on your in the SBA, so if you filed $25,000 on your Schedule C, and the SBA because the SBA had to get your loan to approve it, and they see it's $100,000, they're going to talk to the IRS and say, hey, is this right? Let me pull the transcript. Here it goes, because you agreed on your application that you allow them to pull your transcript. Yep. You allow them to pull your tax returns. Therefore, they have the right to do that because you filed that 4506T with the SBA information on there. So that's another way. So what happening is the government are talking. Also, there is a hotline that people can call in and say, hey, there is a hotline. I mean, I don't know who would tell somebody, but you just never know. But there is a hotline for the SBA that you can tell on someone who you feel like got a fraudulent tax PPP. Mm-hmm. And you guys do know the PPP is all that loan money that we got or that people got is doggone. It's there's a list out there. It's
public records.
It's public records. So
that's what they did not know.
Anybody in your county can go. Now, don't get me wrong, they gotta know your business name. But if they do, some people even put that, because independent contract, they can put their name.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is type your name in there, and boom, you come up, and it says how much, and that person mad with you, and they say, oh, you know what? I'm finna get on the hotline. I know this person ain't got no business. They work at this particular place, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. They call SBA, and what's going to happen? SBA is they're going to look at it. They're going to make sure it's okay. They're going to look at it. They're going to say, okay, then they're going to call the Department of Justice and the IRS, and they're going to go do their due diligence. So it's so many ways that people have gotten their names have been pulled up and have been audited.
So when I was in a conference a few weeks ago, they were talking about the PPP loans, all the fraud and everything. They said that the Internal Revenue Service now has a PPP loan task force.
They do with Department of Justice, yeah. With Department of Justice, yeah.
That's crazy.
So they do. Yeah. They formed the task, and the reason why they did that because, and I mean, they were probably gonna do it anyway. But one of the things that the director of the IRS said was, or the SBA, one of them said that a lot of people called in, business owner complaining that they couldn't get the money and they didn't understand why all this money was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you know what, let's do a task force. So now there's a task force out there, which includes the Department of Justice, the SBA, as well as the IRS. So all those government, and people don't realize government agencies talk. They talk, they may not, they talk. They can pull up in the system and find someone and put it up in the system and know exactly what you did. If you got unemployment, you got unemployment and you
was getting the PPP loan.
Come on, like they're gonna pull that up. They're gonna know you got unemployment because they're making you file the 1099.
Yeah,
they're making you file, and not only that, they're gonna call the Georgia for us Department of Labor and say, hey, this person got unemployment, but they also filed a PPP loan. Okay, we're gonna audit them. They're gonna audit you. They're gonna audit people who are legit.
Right.
They're gonna pick people, random people who can audit, but they're gonna audit everybody who's over 2 million, and they're gonna audit everybody who somebody called on task force. The bank said they can get a forgiveness, and they're also gonna audit people who the IRS said that they had 25% over the amount they said that they claimed on the PPP application. Those are the 4 things, well, the 4 ways I know as of right now. Things are changing every day. They're bringing on new stuff. We're trying to make sure we're on top of it. But those are the 4 ways right now that you can be audited.
Have you heard that one of the ways that this government is doing investigations is they're monitoring people's social media pages to see where they're spending that money?
I have not heard about it, but I have heard people who have been on social media and they have they got audited. But I don't know if that's the reason, but that's I know people who've been on there talking about what they how much not what they receive, but like flashing their different things and stuff like that. And so, but don't get me wrong, once they do audit you, they are going to go back to your social media. They're going to look up everything. I get audits, just regular random audits, and they go on people's social media.
Right. People don't understand. They don't understand how serious it is with just getting any type of money from the government. Y'all got this
because they get to look at your records and your books. So even if you are clean cut, you got everything together, have your books together, because when you got that money, you gave them authority to look at any of your records. And that could be if you're an independent contractor and you had a personal bank account. That means they can pull your personal bank account and see all of your transactions.
Yep.
Because you gave them authority to do that by signing that paperwork.
Woo. Okay. Another question: is the PPP money all gone?
Yes. So I want to say we received an email from the banks, the bigger banks, about maybe May 8th, somewhere up in there, saying that the SBA had stopped them from taking any additional applications. And if there was any applications out there pending, they had to cancel those applications. Mm-hmm. And then they went to the community banks. And I think the community banks until May 31st, they were able to give out additional, they had a little bit of money. But yes, all the PPP money is gone. It was gone as of May 8th. But like I said, they had a little bit of extra money for community banks, which they went on through May 31st. And that's the reason why people are upset, because there were people who actually needed that money and did not receive those funds.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Another question numbers. Oh, this is a good one. If I paid someone to do my PPP application and they lied, will I get in trouble?
Yes, they did not sign their name saying that this was true and accurate. They did not sign. There is nowhere on there where you're going to be able to see any preparer's name on there. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen where any preparer. I think eventually they may come out, but they're gonna get the people first, because you signed it saying this was true. And I looked at the applications, because I had some people who said that. They said, some people contacted me saying that, well, I had this person do it. I didn't know what they were doing. They had me having so many employees. I don't have any employees, because of course, the more employees you have, the more money you receive. But on the form, on the application, which you have to sign as the owner, it tells you how many employees, it tells you how much money times 2 point, whatever the amount was. So you pretty much said this was accurate. This is just like filing a tax return.
Yeah.
You said everything on that tax return was accurate. So you're saying everything on that PPP loan application was accurate. So, and that person, like I said, that person's name is nowhere attached to it. Nowhere. And I mean, as right now, I don't see where they're going to be able to do anything with those people. I do think eventually they're going to have a promoter's penalty for that. But right now, there's nothing. It's going to be only you.
So I was told that the people that are doing the loans fraudulently, not only are they going to investigate them, but they're going to investigate the people like in the neighborhoods that are going around doing all these fraudulent applications as well.
Eventually, but not right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to pull, because what happens is they got to pull all these applications. They got to get you for fraud. Then what they're going to do is they're going to say, well, if you give me somebody's name who did this for you and did other people Snitch. And got money from it, then I'm gonna give you a little bit of time off. I may even give you probation. And what's gonna happen? Because I know, I'm just saying, for me personally, oh yeah, this is who did this for me, and they got a 10% of my money, and now I'm the one who's going to jail. So of course I'm gonna say. So eventually they're gonna have a case, but the way they have to do it first is they have to get the people who actually sign the paperwork, get them to snitch on someone else, or the people, people going around the neighborhood telling you, this is what you can do, I can help you with this, getting this loan or whatever. And then that's how they get the investigation against them, because they're not going to come to me from doing all this and just doing, representing taxpayers. The IRS or the Department of Justice does not come after you unless they have something to come after you from. And they come after you, and then they say, I really want the big fish, but I'm gonna get the little fishes as well too. Then I'm gonna go back and get the big fish. And that's how I've always seen it happen.
Right. So the people, let's say they got $20,000, and the person that they paid to do the application for them, some of those people were getting like $5,000 to $10,000.
You can't.
They were paying those people that kind of money to do the loan for them. Yes. Mm-hmm. So they're not going down by themselves.
They're gonna get down by themselves. Yeah, but I see probably in the next 1 or 2 years we'll probably start seeing those people as well. But right now they got to get this. They got to get all these other people. I hate to say it like that, but it is sad because it's sad that they were getting that type of money, telling people they could do this and do that, getting those people that money, and then now those people are going to face charges with the government.
Yeah.
So I do recommend. I hope they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question: how much of the PPP loan can be forgiven?
100%.
Yeah.
100% of this money can be forgiven if you actually use the money for what you were supposed to use it for, and you have documentation showing you use that money. So it's 100%, all of it. You have to show 60%. Right now it's 60% of payroll, and then you have to show the other amount and other things like what is it, like software. If you had like another like equipment loan that was outstanding, you could use it for that. Rent, things of that nature, utilities, things of that nature has to be the other amount, but 60% had to be used for payroll. And you could get 100%. And the reason why I know, because I know people who've gotten 100% forgiveness on the person. Yes.
Okay, so there's somebody actually on the live. He asked why does they call it forgivable? That's the answer to your question, Chester, because it is forgiven, and when it's forgiven, that means that you don't have to pay it back.
Nope, you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to file file it as income, correct, Melinda?
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
So that's the reason why it's a good program.
It's
a great program. If you can imagine you got that money, you were able to do what you need to do, and it was completely forgiven.
You know what I really love about it though? Mm-hmm. The items that they purchase with the PPP loan, they can still take that deduction on their taxes.
That's right. They
sure can. You would think that would be some type of double dip, but it's not. Well, it's
and I just knew they were going to make you, because of course they telling people you can use this payroll. I just knew they were going to say, okay, well, you got to pay payroll tax on this money or whatever. No, it's totally forgivable as long as you have proper documentation and you did exactly what you were supposed to do with the money.
Right. Okay. My business didn't start until April 2020, but I received the loan. Am I eligible for the loan?
No, you are not. You're not eligible for the loan. Your business had to be in existence prior to February 15th, 2020. If it was not, you were not eligible for the loan.
So she or he, they received the loan. What's going to happen with them? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be forgivable.
No, it's not going to be forgivable. So what's going to happen is it's not going to be forgivable because, after they ask you for a documentation from the Secretary of State or from somewhere showing that I like one thing, even they ask you for like a bank statement prior to February 15, 2020. If they don't have that information, which I know they won't, then it's going to be sent up to the Department of Justice. And Department of Justice is going to make a decision, which most likely will be they're going to be audited. The next thing that's going to happen is then, they're going to try to indict them. An indictment just means that a grand jury has decided there's enough evidence for the Department of Justice to charge you with charges. It doesn't mean that you're going to jail, but at the end of the day, I need people to understand when they look at this stuff and it says indictment, that means that there's charges. Now they got to go through the process of actually showing that you did something fraudulent, which, to be honest, if you filed and you knew you didn't have a business prior to February 15, 2020, then that was fraud. And I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I pay myself with the PPP loan, and what percentage can I use to pay my employees?
So what people need to understand is this: it says paycheck protection, which means you can pay yourself payroll. You can pay your employees payroll. There is no percentage, but what you have to understand is when you're doing this, you have to pay yourself just like you would have paid them prior.
Right.
You have to show that, on your 941s, how you pay. This information is on your 941s forms. It's on your tax return form when you're doing your wages, things like that. So you pretty much, you can't go and pay your employees $100,000 when you weren't paying them but 25 prior to February 15, 2020. That's what people don't understand. So you got to do it as if you were paying that amount of money to them prior, and as well as yourself. So what I've recommended for people, and Melinda, you can say, put your 2 cents in on it regarding if you're self-employed. What I would do is you divide that money by 8 weeks, now it's 24 weeks, and you pay yourself. You can either pay yourself that amount of money every week, or you pay yourself that amount of money every week for 24 weeks or 8 weeks, or you pay yourself as you would normally pay yourself every 2 weeks or every month. However you're paying yourself, because some people get paid commission from their business. They put a percentage of whatever money they get per month, they put a percentage of it in the business. They keep a percentage of it for themselves. And so it's all about paper trail. And you put that in a business account or a payroll account. If you're an independent contractor, you put the money in an account that's where you do all your business transactions, and you transfer that money and say, this is my payroll for week, whatever it is. And that's how you end up getting your forgiveness. That's how you end up tracking your payments for your payroll, as well as and with your employees. Their payroll is tracked by you filing 941. Every quarter, you file a 941 for them, and that's how their payroll is tracked. Or if you have a payroll company, it shows payroll, so that it's tracked that way, that you're actually paying someone that money that you got.
Right. And so for the people that have no idea how to handle payroll, because there's a lot of people out there. It's just no shame in anybody, but that's just not what they do. They either their hairstylists or their doctors, there's attorneys, they don't do taxes or payroll, so they don't know. So for those people, and if you are a Schedule C filer or a sole proprietor, the best way to do it is pay yourself from your business account. Let's say that you got $20,000 deposited into your business bank account. Do either a transfer, or I know with my bank, there's a section where you can do a bill pay, and it has like a note. When you do your transfer, whether you calculate those payments, whether you divide them by 8 weeks or 24 weeks, whatever that amount is, do a transfer. Just it's simple. Don't go out and try to get a payroll company, because now it's just not worth that. The simplest way to do it is to do a transfer from your business account into your personal account, and make sure in that note, make sure that you write that it's for payroll.
Yeah.
Make sure you do good paper trails and record keeping, because if you're out of it, they're going to want to see that.
Yeah. And you have some people who say, okay, well, some people actually did that and still got indicted, but you got to realize these people were transferring $100,000 every week or whatever. And they couldn't show that they made that money, because they were a lot of looking at the cases that I've studied, a lot of people transfer in, because that's what they told them. Transfer it into your personal account and then pay through your personal account. The issue is that you transferred $100,000 to your personal account, then you bought a Mercedes or whatever the situation is. The issue is we know that you wasn't making $100,000 per week. Now, if you were, awesome. But at the end of the day, people was not making that, so they couldn't show they were making that money to be able to show that transaction was actually a true payroll transaction.
Right.
So we gotta think about it there, because a lot of people ask me about that. Oh, well, I see people I thought you can transfer the money. You can transfer it, but that's payroll,
right?
And legit payroll that you can prove that you were making that money prior.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Here's another really good one. I have a real business, but haven't submitted my taxes yet. Will I be charged with fraud? I got the loan, and can it be forgiven?
So the issue is whether or not you actually had that income that you say that you had, and that you're going to file the tax returns and file that income. And then I say, you're not going to be fraud if you're going to file it. But if you file $100,000 and you didn't make $100,000, and you file your tax return and you put 25 on there, then yes, that's going to be a fraud. But if you because some people just haven't filed their returns, like for 2020. Now you should have filed your returns for 2019 already. And I personally think that you may be one of the people that get audited. If you filed for the PPP loan, but you haven't filed 2019 tax returns yet, they're going to say you're only waiting to file that, and then you're going to put that amount down. So what they're going to do is they're going to check, and they're going to go through your bank accounts to verify that you have had income coming in, or some kind of way you got to prove you have income coming in to substantiate that income that you put on your bank account. Now, if you file if it's 2020, that's a different story. Then yes, file your tax returns. Make sure you file the income that you said you made.
Right.
And that you did make that income and there's no fraud, and that can be forgiven. So
Mm-hmm.
it's according to the situation. I don't really know the whole situation, but it's according to whether or not this is the first loan or this is the second loan. And you use the 2020 for the second loan.
Let's say that this person have not filed a tax return in the last 4 to 5 years.
Then it's fraud. It's totally fraud.
Okay.
If you haven't filed a tax return, I say, like I said, 2019, and you didn't file a Schedule C or you didn't file the income on 2019, you're going to be suspect. You are. Because you should have already filed 2019 anyway. And I know some people don't file a return, but if you got the money for the PPP loan, you should have been filing every return. And you should have, because you want to make sure that there's no questioning of you. Because if there's any questioning right now of anyone, you're going to be audited. And like I said, it's going to be people out there who are straight shooters and did everything right and probably got forgiven and still may be audited. But you know that you've done everything you're supposed to be doing. But most people who got those loans forgiven, I doubt if they're going to be audited because they provide the proper documentation to their bank.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I use the money to purchase a company vehicle?
No, that is not what I see. From the law that's there is no way I can see that being the case. I've looked it up and I just don't see where you can actually purchase a truck. Now, okay, let's go back. No, I don't see you being able to purchase a truck for your company. I just don't see that. Those expenditures had to be prior to the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a truck and you for instance, I don't know, you had an order out there in the truck, we couldn't get the truck because the pandemic hit right then and there, but there's an order out there for the truck and the truck is still available. Yes. But though I can't see, no. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah, because there are a list of eligible items that you had to use the money on. That's what a lot of people that don't realize, they don't realize that like 60% of that money has to go towards payroll. It has to. It just has to. And the remainder of it, you can't just go out and blow it. There are certain items that you have to use this money on. You can't go to Louis Vuitton. You can't go travel all around the world. You can't open up a new business. Like you can't do this stuff with this PPP loan money. There are guidelines that you have to follow. And that's where a lot of you all are messing up at. You are, y'all going buying designers, y'all buying features, Lil Boosie. Did you see the Lil Boosie the PPP loan video Lil Boosie did?
Yes.
Boosie said he made so much money off y'all with them PPP loans. Y'all, that ain't what it was for, y'all.
Good job, because on the video he said, I ain't touching that. He said, I ain't touching no government money. He don't care what it is.
Right.
He ain't touching no government money because he know how the government is. He ain't touching it. This is what he said on the video. He wasn't touching it, but you guys touched it and you made him extra money. And now you don't have a reserve for an attorney or someone or an accountant or someone to go with you to the audit or verify your documentation or whatever the situation is, or when you're going to court, you didn't keep it. And that's another thing. A lot of people did not put a reserve up. And this is off topic, but reportable transactions. And I know a lot of people don't know what that is, but those are the transactions where the IRS is saying, okay, these are things that may be avoiding taxes. These people have to file those things and say, this is something I did, but they always have a reserved amount for an auditor or someone or an attorney to represent them. They keep a reserve amount. And a lot of people didn't do that. Yeah. You bought other lavish things, and I mean, it is what it is. You did what you had to do, but at the end of the day, you didn't put a reserve up. So now when you go to someone like me and I say, okay, well, it's $25,000 for me to represent you. You didn't even get, you got 20,000. You don't have any money. You can't even say, well, Josie, I can give you 5 of it now and 5 of it later, or whatever. You can't even do that because you spend it all on certain. And a lot of people knew it was fraud and they still did that, but didn't put a reserve up, so it is. But I wanted to read the language on the contract at the end of the contract. It says, The funds will be used to retain workers and maintain payroll or make payments for the mortgage interest, rent, utilities, covered operational expenditures, covered property damage costs, covered suppliers costs, and covered worker protection expenditures as specified under the Paycheck Protection Program rules. I understand that if these funds are not knowingly used for unauthorized purposes, the federal government may hold me legally liable, such as for charges of fraud. That's exactly what this says in that application, and that's what they're going to go by. So when I represent somebody, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to say, Josie, didn't that person look at that? Didn't they sign that saying that this is what they said they were going to use that money for? Didn't they say you pretty much give the government right to make you legal liable and charge you with fraud? But it does say, I like one part that says that knowingly used, knowingly. Now, knowingly is you filed a fraudulent return. You filed, you edited, people edited their Secretary of State documentation to say that their business was prior to February 15, 2020. That is knowingly. Now, somebody who didn't know about this, hey, I can use that right there saying that my client did not knowingly know about all these things, and this is what they had to do.
But they tried to outsmart the government and went in and edited the documents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ay. Okay. Another question. Does the SBA have a snitch line? I think we already talked about that.
Yes, they do. They have a snitch line. I cannot think of what the number is. I'm not going to give it to y'all anyway, because don't snitch on the
I ain't giving out that number either. I ain't no snitch.
But if you go on the SBA, there is it may not be called a snitch line, but it's called, I can't think of what it is. PPP fraud complaint or something like that. And you can call, and it's anonymous. And you can put somebody out there, and they most 9 times out of 10, they're going to be out of it.
So the people that, if you know you did not have a business, you know you ain't have no business getting this money, stop flashing it on social media. Please. You are putting a case on yourself. If you got a lot of haters, a lot of y'all claim y'all got so many haters. Your haters are going to report you. They see you taking these trips. They see you shopping. They see you riding these nice cars. You got a nice house. They gonna report you. There is a snitch line for them to call and say, hey, Kiki got that loan. She on the list. She got $20,000. She ain't got no business. What you think the government gonna do?
I know she ain't got no business. Let me tell you what Lil Boosie said. I think that's his name. He said that he was like, you know what? If I'm out here and somebody riding up with some kind of car, and I know this person just was driving another car the next day, that's what they're looking at. So it's like, don't flash all that stuff around, not just on social media, don't flash it, period. And he was saying also, if my baby mama come up, she ain't talking to me now because she got this little money, what they gonna do? I'm gonna call and say, hey, my baby mama I know she ain't got no business, and she got $20,000. He pretty much put it out there, like, because that's like you say, you say you have these haters, and you do have people that, I'm telling you, in my community, and it's sad, people were actually going into this website, sharing it on social media, and actually putting in people information to see how much money they got. Now, if you got that much time in your day, that's on you. But I don't. But at the end of the day, you got people who got that much time on their hands. That they will sit up and look at all that stuff, and just call that number and give them your information, your business, because everybody has your business name and EIN number. I don't know what was on the list. I know it was your name and your address and how much you got. I think that was all it was on the list of the public list.
It took me a while to look at the list, simply because I ain't give a damn. Honestly, I don't care who got the loan, and I just didn't have the time. One late night, I received a phone call from a close friend about somebody's name that I was shocked that was on that list. Like, I was just blown away. So I sat there, honey, when you start looking, you can't stop. Okay.
Well, maybe I should never go.
I search so many. You can look at it by the zip code. You can look at it by the name. Like there are filters on it that you can view the names. I'm so shocked at some of the names that I saw on that list. Like these people have really good corporate jobs. They got families. They got kids. Like what's going to happen to those people that did these loans fraudulently? Because these people don't have a business. They work a 9 to 5. They don't even have a business mentality or mindset.
But that's the thing, and that's the sad part about it, is that it will hurt our community. It will hurt your children when you go to jail, or not even just the fact of not even going to jail, the fact of you being indicted, the fact that you sit in the courtroom beside me and you're saying, I don't know what the heck is going to happen right now to me and my kids. Right. That is the thing. And that, the sad part for me, because I love the help, is that I'm saying, like, I don't even know what I can do. All I can do is give you effective representation and try to keep you to the minimum sentence as possible. They talking about like 25 years, for this. It's according to how much money you get. And it hurts my heart that you're going to have people out here who families are going to break up. And that's what hurt. I think that's what hurt us the most. And for people to think that we're out here just shaming people, that is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate you and let you know what it may be about to happen. And you need to get your ducks in a row and get your house in order, because it will end up you don't want your kids. Oh my God, you don't want your kids seeing somebody. And this is the thing, when you get indicted, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to knock on your door real hard, because they are about that. And they're going to wait or come to your job and arrest you, because once you're indicted, you can be arrested. And then you have to be arrested. You got to post your bond. Then you got to your family got to go through and hire an attorney for all of this. And then you got to sit up in court and watch people who are not your peers. I don't care what nobody say, that are not your peers, that are sitting there judging you. And that's the reason why, I say, if you didn't have a business, the guy that was interviewing Boosie was like, I didn't need the money.
Right.
He said, I didn't need the money.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't take it. Even though he had a legitimate business, he didn't need the money. So he didn't take it. But people who needed that money, and, but people who did not, y'all don't understand what is about to go down. There is I just want y'all to go look at it. There's a company called Arnold and Porter. They have a list of all the indictments that have happened with Department of Justice. They update that list every day. And y'all, it's about 20 pages of people on that list from all different walks of life, from all different states, from everywhere, from all different amounts of money that they received. They're on that list and they're being indicted. And like I said, it's not just about going to jail, it's about all the stuff that goes on prior to you going to jail, to your kids, to your family, to your husband, to your wife, where they got to go into the bank and get money to hire an attorney. And the attorney job is hopefully to help you, get off or whatever. But the really job is to, provide you effective representation and just try to get your sentence, especially with this situation. Because if you did some fraudulent documentation, the only thing I can do is try to provide you effective representation.
Right.
Try to get you as lowest sentence as possible.
That's heartbreaking. And for me, it's the kids. Girl, it's going to be so many kids. Yeah, it's going to be so many kids that's going to be broken up from their parents because y'all out here being greedy. It ain't $20,000 is not worth you losing your kids. When it comes to kids, that breaks my heart. Yeah. As a child, to not have a parent, like I know what that's like.
Yeah.
It ain't a good feeling, y'all. These babies are about to be homeless. because y'all want to go out here and get $20,000 so you can go shop, so you can go travel, so you can buy Mercedes, and like y'all are so materialistic. The people that you shining for, these people don't give a damn about you. And guess what? When you leave, they're gonna forget about you. They're gonna be on to the next topic, and you're gonna be behind bars stuck.
Yeah.
Now your family, you finna put your family in a bind because they gotta put money on your book. They gotta take care of your kids. Man, ain't nobody gonna take care of your kids like you. I don't give a damn who it is. Ain't nobody gonna take care of your kids like you. Nobody. So while y'all out here doing all this crazy stuff for these few little dollars that's not gonna last, think about your kids.
Yeah.
Think about your family. I know y'all didn't know that y'all information was gonna be public records when y'all got these loans.
Nobody did. Nobody knew.
Y'all setting y'allself up for robbery.
Oh yeah.
It's people laying low on y'all. It's so many people in the neighborhood with a kill or be killed mentality. Y'all posting this money on social media. What do you think is gonna happen to y'all and your family? So when I share this information on social media about these PPP loans, trying to help y'all, trying to talk y'all out of getting these loans, it's not because we are trying to shame anybody. I'm looking out for y'all kids.
Yeah.
That's all. I want y'all to make better decisions when it comes to stuff like this. And y'all making crazy remarks talking about the white people do it all the time. The government did this to us. The government did that to us. Y'all sound so crazy.
And people need to understand. And I mean, I know I'm a part of the justice system, but it wasn't designed for us. I'm just gonna be honest. It was not designed for us at the end of the day. So it don't matter what the next person did. It's about you.
Right.
And then that's the problem. People want to sit up here and talk about what somebody else did and what the government owes us and all that stuff. I'm sorry. It was not designed for us. That's why attorneys fight so hard. Yeah. And people want to say, oh, we just want y'all. No. Yeah, we don't just want your money. We fight hard. And I care about every one of my clients that I have. And I sit up there with you until the end. But it's sad when I didn't have to even do that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do it, because if you had to do what you're supposed to do and not file this fraudulent information, we wouldn't be sitting here. So don't put the blame on nobody else and talking about what everybody else doing. Right. It ain't about everybody else. We're talking about our community and our people.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have a very soft place in my heart for kids because I went through so much as a child, and I just don't like to see kids have to suffer because mom or dad is being greedy. And I saw a lot of people name on that list, and I'm praying for y'all. I'm praying that y'all slip through that crack and don't get caught and don't have to go to jail. If that is the case, you're still gonna have to pay it back.
Yeah.
They're gonna put liens on your assets if you don't pay that money back. Now your tax return is affected. Your government benefits is affected. If you get in Social Security, that's affected. Some of y'all are retired from military. Those benefits are going to be affected.
Because you don't understand that.
Like,
you don't understand the Department of Treasury. Department of Treasury can seize any assets. People talking about saying they can't seize any assets. Yes, they can. They can say they may not be able to get all of it, but they can get some of it. They actually get most of it. Yeah. So they can seize your assets. So anybody tell you they can't levy, that's not true. They can definitely seize your assets, your bank accounts. That money, even if you get Social Security, that money goes in a bank account, they can seize that bank account. Now you got to go back and show them that it was Social Security money and they only could get a portion of it, but they still can seize it. And you know how much work that is going back and trying to get your money when you had a bill that was due?
Mm-hmm.
And now your bill can't be paid because you ain't gonna get that
Right.
money back immediately. It don't work like that.
Right.
So like it's so many more things tied to this than just the PPP loan or
Right.
just the money you got. It's so many other things that's tied to this. And that's what we want people to understand today.
And they have your bank account information already because you gave it to them. You gave it to them. Yeah. Like I just really think that a lot of people just they made a mistake and got the loan because they really didn't think it through.
Yeah.
They didn't think it through. They thought, well, these people out here getting all these millions, I ain't getting $20,000. They're not gonna be studying me. They ain't gonna be worried about me and this little money. That's
But
not
yeah,
true.
if you think that, go on Parter.com and pull up all the people, and you'll see that there's more money than this 1.5 and 75 and 300,000, 30,000 is on there. Go in there and see that that's the case. So I'm like Melinda, I'm praying for everyone. I'm praying that, God gives me some revelation about this where I can help people, because that's what I want to do. I want to help you guys get out of the situation, or at least get you, like I said, the minimum amount of whatever we can do, because this is so serious.
It is.
It is
It
so
is.
serious.
Okay, let's get back to the questions. I'm sorry that people know
Okay.
when it comes to
Okay.
them babies, I fight for them babies. I fight for them and I feel for them because they didn't ask to be here. Those kids did not ask to be here, so they don't deserve to have to live without their parents or lose a parent, or now they're put in an uncomfortable situation to live in because one of my parents went out and did something they wasn't supposed to do. And a lot of them, they didn't even have to do it. Some of these people have good corporate jobs and didn't need that money. They just wanted it. They were just being greedy. Okay. Another question. My daughter received a loan fraudulently. How can I help her? Ooh.
All I can say, to be honest, is forget her effective representation right now. Put a reserve back. I'm assuming she has not been audited yet. She will be. I don't know what kind of fraud she did. I don't know if she docketed documentation, if she didn't file have fraudulent tax returns. I'm not really sure. But right now you need to find a reserve and put up some money to get her effective representation. That's all you can do for her right now. There is nothing else. And I'm one of those people who I'm always finding some kind of way to do something, to figure out something. I'm always about putting together a puzzle. I want to figure it out. I want to get the best thing I can do. But right now with this situation, that's all I can say. And that makes me feel bad. That's all I can say right now, is to get her effective put money back, to make sure when they do come knocking at her door, that you have enough money to be able to hire someone to represent her.
Mm.
And maybe, like I said, we don't know. They may get to the point where they're doing restitutions, and which means that you just have to pay the money back. I don't know, but right now that's not the case. It's not the case. Everybody they put in big charges. So I haven't seen anybody. They just nobody's really been actually. A couple of people been in jail, but I don't think they've been actually charged yet because of COVID, and we still waiting. The courts are not open as much, but I don't see anybody getting restitution. I'm not saying that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. The guy, I followed the story on the guy from Love and Hip Hop. I can't remember his name right now, but I want to say that he's already gotten his time, and
Okay.
it was over 100 months.
Okay.
So, and it's
Yeah.
restitution because it's wire fraud, bank fraud, fraudulent.
Yeah.
Like it's
Money
so
laundering.
many different charges. It's not just one charge because I got the PPP loan. That's not the case, y'all. It's a shitload of charges, and it's federal. This is not state. It's federal.
Yeah.
It's feds.
Federal.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
If I pay the money back now, will I still be charged with fraud?
Yes. Because I recommend it. Don't get me wrong, because that can help you with your charges. That can
Right.
definitely help you with charges. But you will, because you signed paperwork. You put fraudulent information on a government application or government paperwork. So yes, you will still be charged. And I think about, I hate to say it, but by paying it back, you're opening yourself up anyway. My recommendation, to be honest, is have the money sitting there to pay it back. But don't wait. This is just the lawyer in me
Yeah.
talking. But
Right.
I would
Right.
not open up Pandora's box until I had to open up Pandora's box.
There you go. Because you kind of stuck in the hard place because you're afraid you still got the money, or you just got the money and you haven't spent it yet. And you like, I don't want to have shit to do with this. Here, y'all can have this money back. You still, it's like,
The bank is going.
but you,
The bank is going to say they're going to tell the government something. They're going to tell them.
right, right. Because it's not that simple. Because you could be one of the ones that get through that little small crack. But
Yeah.
because you've given it back, now you've opened up a case. So it's kind of like a catch-22 with that.
Yeah, me personally, if it was me, I would put the money back. I would put the money in the reserve bank and just let it sit there just in case they do. Then at that point, let your attorney say, you know what, we have the money. We can give it back. What can we get if we get the money back? Because like you
Wow.
say, you may have a small window and you may get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you open yourself up. Right now, I'm not recommending anybody give anything back right now.
Just put it to this. So there's another worry of mine, having that much money in a bank account. Like once your account go over $10,000, reported to the Internal Revenue Service. So that worries me, having that much money in a bank account.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's just a bad situation all the way
Yeah.
around, and we don't have enough court cases yet to determine what really have our clients do. So you're right, that could be an issue where the bank could say, well, she got this certain amount of money, he got this certain amount of money in an account. I probably would still argue that it's PPP money, but that's the thing. It still opens up Pandora box so much, because it's so many different ways they could come and audit you. So many different ways. You could tell on yourself, like you said, the $10,000. It just right now, to be honest, everybody's in a holding period, and you're just praying right now that you're not the ones that get audited, and the people who did something fraudulent.
So worst case scenario, let's say that they're not audited. What will happen with the forgiveness portion of the loan if they got it fraudulently?
Then
and they're
it won't
not
be
audited.
forgiven. It won't be
It's still,
forgiven, and they'll have to pay the money back. They'll have to pay the monthly payments at the whatever percentage that was. I can't remember what percentage it was,
I
but
think
they'll
it's
have to pay the
1%.
Well, yeah, it is 1%. It is 1%. So they'll have to pay 1% monthly. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christy Cole is on the line. She said, I've been in business since August 2020. Do I qualify? No, ma'am.
No.
You had to have had an established business prior to February 15th of 2020.
And the PPP money is gone now. So even if you qualify,
Right.
get it unless they decide to do another round, which I doubt, but I don't know. But yeah, you wouldn't qualify anyway. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so Christy Cole, the money has ran out. So even if you did qualify, it's over with. Thanks to the
Yeah.
people that went out and balled out with the money. People like you that has a real business. If you would have been eligible for it, you can't get it because it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if there are any more questions that we didn't go over. We have a little bit more time. We talked about the guidelines. We talked about what's forgiven and what's not forgiven. The money is all gone. Can I use the PPP? I received it on. I don't know if I asked this one or not. I received a loan, but forgot to report my business on my taxes. Can I file an amendment to add my business income to my taxes?
So if you truly forgot to add your business, which okay, if you truly forgot to, I'm sorry, that wasn't right. But if you truly forgot to add your business to your tax return, you can amend it, but understand you will be one of the ones who get audited. So make sure that this is income that you put on the PPP is the same amount of money that you're filing in your tax returns, and you also can back it up with documentation that somebody paid you or you had that business income. Not only do you have to file your tax returns, I think that if you get audited, they're going to ask for bank statements and things of that nature, or something to show that money was actually, you actually earn that money in your business.
And to add to that, if you do an amendment, that can open up audits on your prior year tax returns too. Yeah. So think about that before you do an amendment. Think about that before you do the amendment. Dawn Hall is on the line. She said, should I still pay myself if I'm going to let it sit till it's forgiven or it may be audited?
So you let it sit. So I'm assuming it was fraud.
That's what I was about to ask. First and foremost, were you in business with a profitable business prior to February 15th of 2020? Done. Answer that question for us first, and we can go to your other question. We got to make sure that you are actually eligible for it first.
Yeah.
If you were not eligible for it, don't touch it, because
yeah, if you're not eligible for it, don't touch it. If you don't have proper documentation, you don't touch it because it's fraud. Don't touch it.
Okay, yeah. She said no. So done. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it, please.
She said, I have been in business since 2010. Did you have a business tax return? And did you put what was on your business Schedule C line 7 income? Because some people, they do have real businesses, but they, one, didn't file business taxes, or two, they only made $25,000, but they lied and said they made $100,000. So you got to think about those things, Done. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure what she's saying no to, but Done, again, you would say something, Josie.
If you know that it's something that Melinda just said you did not have, don't touch that money. For if you was not, when you say you was in business 2010, okay. If you was a profitable business and you filed $100,000 on the PPP loan application, but technically your business only made, let's say, $25,000, then I said don't touch it. If you never filed a tax return on your business, a Schedule C, or even if you have an independent contract, whatever, you didn't file any business income, don't touch it, because all of that is fraud.
Right. And I'm glad she asked that question, because to everybody that has a business, a real business, you got your business bank account, you got your business license, you're registered with the Secretary of State, you file your business taxes, you filed a loss. You had zero on line 7 where your gross income is. You told the IRS, I made $0 and I had $25,000 in expenses, but I got a real business. I qualify for the PPP loan. No, you don't. Whatever is on your Schedule C line 7, that amount is what you were supposed to put on your PPP loan application. Some of y'all lied on that line, and that's where you're gonna get caught up at. So just be really careful with that. And filing an amendment, I don't know.
It opens up Pandora's box. To me, it opens up Pandora's box, not only for the PPP loan, but also for the IRS, like Melinda said, to audit you, and they can go back 3 years and audit you. And if you have zero on your tax returns, and for 3 years you had zero on that gross receipts, they can say you're a hobby. You're not a business. You got a hobby.
You're a hobby. And actually, Josie, if when it's criminal related, they can go back as many years as they want.
Oh, that's right. They sure can. Because what they say is you defrauded the government. So now they're saying all your tax returns was fraud. So now you can go all the way back and audit all your tax returns.
Right. Yep. Okay. I think that is all the questions. We had a lot of, there's one more. I was hoping that we had time to answer this one because this is a really good one. My boyfriend is incarcerated and his baby mama got 2 loans in his name. What do he need to do?
I mean, he's incarcerated. It's the girlfriend that's gonna get the baby. I mean, was the baby mama? The baby mama is the one. She is gonna, because first of all, she signed a federal documentation saying that she was application saying she was somebody else. All he gotta do is show he incarcerated. He was incarcerated during that time the application was signed. It was filled out, and he got to make sure she didn't go up there and have him sign anything. But technically, if he didn't do anything wrong, it's gonna be on the baby mama. Period. Right. I don't see him being on him unless, like I said, he went, she was doing it for him, and she signed his name, and he gave permission to do so. And he, she signed it at the jail or whatever, which I don't see how she could have did that. But and he actually, said he had a business then, and he was incarcerated. Then it's on him. But I don't see that being the case. Baby mama is going to be in trouble at that point. Yeah.
Baby mama got that Social Security number, that date of birth. She got everything she needed to get that loan.
And she is gonna be in trouble for getting that 2. She got not 1 loan, but she got 2 loans. So maybe she got the first and the second draw. I don't know. But how she get the second draw without docking up paperwork? I don't see how she did that. But
that's interesting too, because
unless she's saying she got the EIDL loan, the PPP and the EIDL. Maybe that's what she did. I don't know. But she's saying 2 loans, and I don't see how she got that second PPP without providing. Unless she provide fraudulent documentation.
Right. And also, isn't there like on the application, there's like a long list of questions that you have to read and initial. Isn't something about being incarcerated that makes you ineligible to receive the loan?
It does, but only incarceration for certain things like money laundering, the different things like financial things. Like if you just incarcerated, someone else didn't know, you wouldn't get disqualified, but you still have to check the box.
Right.
So you're right. That she shouldn't even. That's fraud right there, checking the box. I don't know what he's incarcerated for, but it asks you the questions, but it only disqualifies you if it's certain things that you were incarcerated for.
And so the people, let's say the people, they got real businesses, they put the correct gross amount that's on line 7. They did everything correct on the application. They got all their paperwork together, but they are a convicted felon. Won't that make them ineligible? I think if you were a convicted felon for like the prior, I think it was like 3 years on the application.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me see.
I know what you're talking about. I don't think I have the application in front of me, but I do know what you're talking about on the application. And I think so. I think that's if you were I think it's 3. Let me see if it's 3 years. I think it is, but I cannot remember. Now I'm gonna have to go back and research that and see. But that means you check the box and you still you lied.
Right. That's the thing. So they're not reading this stuff. Even though this person had all their paperwork and all their T's crossed and I's dotted, you still won't be eligible if you are a convicted felon. And I don't know the number of years off the top of my head, but I'll post it on my Facebook page once I look it up after the live. It was something about being incarcerated,
It was.
and bankruptcy as well. It was something about being in bankruptcy on there as well.
Yeah, so my thing is just answer the question properly and then let them determine. If they give you the money, be like, well, I answered the question correctly.
Right. Yeah.
I said this, and therefore they can't say that you put, you answered it fraudulently on a federal documentation. They can't say that. Because it may not excluded you, but you didn't know that, but you lied anyway. Then just to get the money. And that's fraud.
Yeah. Okay. The last question I have, it says, I have a real business, but didn't spend all the loan on payroll because I did not know I had to spend it on business stuff. What will happen to me?
You'll be audited. But clearly I understand what you're saying, but the issue is that I just read that paragraph that's in the application saying what you need to use the funds for. Therefore, if you didn't use the funds for those purposes and for all payroll, you're going to, when you apply for the forgiveness, you're going to be not denied the forgiveness because you didn't use all the money. Your name will be sent up to the Department of Justice, and then they will make a determination on whether or not they should audit you and indict you.
Yeah.
Because you have to use the funds for that purpose. It's not just about getting the money, but it's also about how you use the funds. You can be a legitimate business and you go out and you use those funds improperly, and you still can be charged with fraud because you defraud the government to do other things with the money. I don't know what the money was used for, what else it was used for, but technically that's what's pretty much going to happen. You're going to probably most likely get audited.
Yeah. Okay, this was really good. I hope you all learned a lot. I hope this was very informative because Attorney Harris Walton just gave y'all a lot of very good information. Very good information.
Thank you.
That's all the questions. Do you have anything else you want to add before we log off?
No, I don't have anything else. I think I've said enough today. I'm a little exhausted because like I said, I love to help people, and all you guys had to do, and I understand that people didn't do it. All you had to do was come to somebody and say, hey, I don't have a business, or I have a business. This is what I have not done, but I want to apply for the PPP, and we could have told you yay or nay, and at least give you your option. Then you would have known what your options were, and you would have known what was going to happen, and and it's all about, my thing is that they always come to me for reactive. Please, people come to me proactive. I would love you to come to me proactive and ask me questions, and I will answer them. But then I always get the ones that's reactive, and now I can't go back and fix it because I can't docket. I can't docket paperwork. I won't lose my license for that, for no one. I won't tell you to do anything fraudulent because I won't do it. So at the end of the day, like, I just, I wish people had came to me prior, or to an accountant, or to someone that they trust, because I know that somebody said, oh, well, I can do this for you, and I can, so much percentage or whatever. It wasn't worth it. It was not worth it.
At all.
Yeah.
At all. In closing, all I would like to say is, y'all be careful, be very careful. Think about the consequences, because like Josie said at the beginning of the live, if you missed the beginning of the live, I'm going to leave it up for only a limited amount of time, simply because I don't want anybody to get in trouble, because investigations is on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the stuff that's the other things that are going to be affected. Like if you're on Section 8, you're going to lose it. If you receive government assistance, you're going to lose it. Like all the government, they all talk. Like Josie said, they're talking to each other. So they know that you on Section 8. And you got this side business that they didn't know about, and you didn't told these folks that you made $100,000 in payroll. Now you can lose your Section 8 and your food stamps. Where the hell you and your kids gonna stay at? Like y'all not thinking this through.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I don't know if you saw, but I saw a couple of sharings on some of the apartment complexes, which our section of the apartment complex is saying that
Yes.
you know that we can go and see it's public record. If we see
Yep.
that your name is on that list, we're going to adjust your rent accordingly or whatever, something like that. The letter said. I'm like, what? So yeah, so
Yes.
just saying by you saying that yeah, it affects so many other things besides a PPP loan.
Well, this is good. I'm exhausted as well. I need
Yeah.
a glass of wine. What
I
time?
know,
How much
right?
is it's
You're gonna
only
have to get
1:30 and I need some wine.
already. So
Well, thank you so much, Josie. I really appreciate you. You know, you are my favorite tax attorney. If somebody really needs your services ASAP, please tell them how they can reach you.
So you can either go on my website, it's thewaltonfirm.com, and you can schedule a consultation with me. Or you can actually call my office. I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area. It's 678-977-7080. Those are the best two ways to set up an appointment. And let's just have a conversation. Let's talk and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Because like I said, everybody deserves effective representation, regardless.
Right. Yeah. No judgment zones, people. No judgment zones. I mean, it's no sense of being shamed now. It's done and it's public records. Right now, you need to be proactive and get help before they come knocking, so you'll know what to do when and if they come.
That's right.
All right. Well, it was amazing today. You all have a good day, a good week. I'm exhausted. I will talk to you all soon. You're welcome. I'll talk to you soon, Josie. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, Facebook Live.